What's up, folks? Welcome back. My name is Chris. I'm your NFL writer here at Occupy Fantasy, and we are going to take a look at the first three-game slate of the 2025 NFL preseason. That's right. We are back with some NFL DFS picks and lineup advice for DraftKings and FanDuel contests, and I could not be more excited to bring you some of the hard work that we have been working on behind the scenes as a staff throughout the beginning of the preseason here. So, first question you're probably asking yourselves, where is Brian? Brian is on a well-deserved vacation here for the first couple of weeks in the preseason, so you will see Brian back on the channel by preseason week 3, and we'll make sure that he is well-rested to be with you for the rest of the regular season as well for our regular agenda of videos and content. Look to see myself, Chuck, and some other members of the Occupy staff here cover every single NFL preseason slate throughout the rest of the month of August in the meantime here. And the biggest thing about preseason DFS, it's not about the flashy names. It's not about the stars that are going to be taking the field. It's about which players are going to be seeing the most playing time and opportunities to turn that playing time into production on the football field here. So I'm going to give you 5 of my top plays for tonight's slate. We're going to do about 10 to 15 minutes, and I'm going to give you a quick preview of the notes that we have put together in the Daily Plug, which is linked in the description of the video and available on OccupyFantasy.com. You're certainly not going to want to miss that. Things change quickly in preseason as we evaluate what's going on in pregame warmups, so there's only so much we can do in these videos, so we're going to give you the high-level analysis here that you need to have a good framework for a lineup here. And you already see some top plays on the screen here. Thank you for that feedback on the Hall of Fame video that Brian did last week. We didn't want to get you in here and out of here without at least a core of players to consider. Starting at the quarterback position, Jalen Milroe, out of the University of Alabama, third-round draft pick for the Seattle Seahawks, probably going to be the most popular play at the quarterback position tonight. Seahawks head coach Mike Macdonald has already informed us that the starters will not be playing this evening. So that leaves just Jalen Milroe and Drew Lock to split the work at the quarterback position. One of the things that we do extremely, and I mean extremely well here at Occupy Fantasy, is we track the playing time trends at each position for every single preseason game. We have a dashboard here going back all the way to 2018 if you are, for some reason, interested enough in looking at that. But we like to use these trends because coaches are creatures of habit. They don't tend to change how they handle players in preseason year to year. They have a pretty well-established routine that they stick to. And we can look at what Mike Macdonald did with the Seattle Seahawks at quarterback last season. And what you're going to see here is that Sam Howell, who was the QB2 last year, played 70% of the snaps in the first preseason game, and PJ Walker, who was the third quarterback, played 30% of those snaps. However, the way that we are looking at this tonight, looking at Seattle at the quarterback position, Sam Darnold's the starter. He's going to rest. He's not going to play. Drew Lock is the more established veteran player here, has some starting quarterback pedigree in the NFL, and therefore seems to actually be a better fit for the 30% playing time role here in our view, in our estimation of playing time for the Seahawks tonight. So expect between 1 and 2 quarters for Drew Lock as a result this evening as technically the number 2 quarterback, but I don't think he's going to play as much as Jalen Milroe. If you look at some of the stat lines that are available through Pick 6 here on DraftKings and some other providers, we have relatively even expectation on passing yardage for both Milroe and Lock. I believe Lock currently projected for 101.5 yards, Milroe 98.5, so just a 3-yard difference. The difference between these two guys is the rushing upside with Jalen Milroe. 1,577 rushing yards at the University of Alabama under center with 33 rushing touchdowns. That gives us access to a pretty nice floor with Milroe at quarterback, and this is almost certainly why he is going to be the most popular play at the position in low-risk contests and in high-risk contests as well. So top play at the quarterback position for us, Jalen Milroe. Now, if you want a high-risk play at quarterback, the staff is really interested in Anthony Richardson here. We have heard from Shane Steichen that Indianapolis plans to start Richardson this week and start Daniel Jones next week. The plan is to give Richardson roughly a quarter and a half, give Jones the rest of that second quarter, and then flip that next week. Now, Richardson, similar to Jalen Milroe, tremendous rushing upside and tremendous big play ability. He's usually looking to push the ball downfield. This is a high risk, high reward play, but understand really low floor for Anthony Richardson with just a quarter and a half of playing time expected. So I would not use Anthony Richardson in low risk contests. I would save this for large field contests like this $150,000 preseason special with $50K to first place. Okay, at the running back position, our favorite plays are going to be Baltimore running backs, primarily Katon Mitchell with the Baltimore Ravens here. And the reason for that is that the Ravens have pretty predictable playing time trends here in the preseason, especially at the running back position. When we look at what the Ravens have available at running back tonight, they have just 5 running backs on the roster. The starters are not expected to play, so that means we can knock it down to 4 running backs. Derrick Henry will not be out there. Justice Hill has a pretty key third down role in this offense as the main backup, right now anyway, to Derrick Henry. So we actually think he might either play sparingly or not play at all. And then finally, at the bottom of the depth chart here for the Baltimore Ravens at the running back position, we have Marcus Major, who is not going to be available to play because he has been dealing with concussion symptoms this week in practice. He has not been practicing, so do not expect him to go out there. That means he's not going to play tonight. Now, they did sign to Ernest Johnson, who has some NFL pedigree, most prominently with the Cleveland Browns, but that was just this past Sunday, so I don't know how much run he's going to get. That means between Johnson and Mitchell and Rasheen Ali, that we expect these guys to cover virtually the entire game. Now, the Ravens are the underdog side here, but we're not necessarily concerned with that. We're concerned with who has the most playing time upside, and that means Katon Mitchell and Rasheen Ali are your best plays here at the running back position for preseason week 1 from the Baltimore side. Far less competition within their own team for snaps on the field, and we got a much higher floor with running backs than wide receivers in general. So 2 of our favorite plays overall here, Ali and Katon Mitchell. Now, if you want a non-Baltimore running back, we're big fans of Taj Brooks here with Cincinnati. Brooks has been seen practicing with each of the first, second, and third units for the Bengals here, so that's leading to some speculation that Chase Brown might not actually play at all for them at the top of the depth chart. Cincinnati has 6 running backs available. Samaje Perine in his third down back passing game role, unclear how that is going to shake out. There are 3 running backs behind Brooks on the depth chart that could get some run throughout this game, but given where he stands in projected ownership, he's going to be one of the most popular plays on this slate, and where some of his stat lines are on places like Pick 6 and some of the other contest providers that offer those lines, we expect Taj Brooks to be right up there with the Ravens running backs as one of the most popular plays this evening, and the beat writers expect him to see run with each of those 3 units again tonight, so probably a good idea to have at least a little bit of exposure to him, definitely in low-risk lineups, and probably in some of your high-risk lineups as well. At the wide receiver position, I'll give you one good low-risk play and one good high-risk play. Now, the talk of Seahawks camp has been Tory Horton. Horton was drafted in the 5th round by the Seahawks this year, and he did have an injury-shortened season last year in NCAA, but he did rack up 265 catches for 27 touchdowns across 5 years in college football between the University of Nevada and Colorado State University. He has been getting a little bit of buzz as having earned some reps with the first team in practice alongside Cooper Kupp and Jackson Smith-Njigba. So that is why everybody sort of knows what his name is at this point. He's going to be extremely popular. I would argue the most popular wide receiver play, and therefore probably a must for your low-risk lineups today. But given the nature of preseason DFS and how things can shake out, might actually make for a good fade candidate in some high-risk contests tonight. That is the dealer's choice ultimately here. But Tory Horton, one of our favorite plays, and listed as someone to watch tonight alongside Cody White and Derek Young by some Seattle beat writers. Now, I'll give you a high-risk play that I really, really like this evening. Pairs nicely with our high-risk quarterback that we really like this evening. It's going to be Adai Mitchell with the Indianapolis Colts. Mitchell has really starred up and down the field all over the place for the Colts in their training camp, in their joint practices this week with the Baltimore Ravens. He's pretty much been catching everything that has been thrown his way. Mitchell listed as a consistent standout in practice by Colts beat writers, and also had the team lead in receptions alongside Josh Downs in their practice on Tuesday, their final practice of the week. So should be out there seeing significant playing time with both Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones, and probably going to be targeted fairly heavily here in the first half of this game by the Colts. So like Adai Mitchell in high-risk contests. You got to do something at tight end, and why not go back to the well with the player that we have used in preseasons past with Tanner Hudson. One reporter for the Bengals through Bengals.com's training camp report has even said get ready for the Tanner Hudson show at tight end tonight. Has 54 career receptions here in the preseason for nearly 600 receiving yards. The legend himself, Tanner Hudson, our favorite play at the tight end position for contests this evening. Look, we have 3 different games, and we have all sorts of really interesting, useful nuggets on playing time trends that you can digest in the Daily Plug, which is updated on OccupyFantasy.com. Please go there, check it out. If you have any questions about tonight's slate, please leave them in the comment section below. I don't have the ability to cover everything for you on this slate here in a 10 to 15 minute video. As much as I would love to do that, we got to actually ask you to join our Discord, ask some questions in there, ask some questions in the comments, and we'll do our best to help you guys have a successful night here in Preseason DFS. We are back. Good luck this evening, and we'll be back tomorrow to talk to you more about Friday's 3-game slate.